In this video, I'm going to cover my nutrition strategy that I used for Chase the Sun ultra cycling event. I'm going to show you what I planned to do, what I actually consumed, how it went. Obviously, you've got an event in mind and you've tuned in to see what you could use for ideas for your nutrition. Maybe you're doing Chase the Sun this year, maybe you're not, maybe you're doing another long event. Now, if you haven't already seen my video, check it out at the link below. You're missing a good video. Check that out, I'll put a link up. But Chase the Sun is a 205-mile ultra cycling event. Starts in East Kent, Minster-on-Sea at sunrise, and the aim is to arrive on the pier at Weston-super-Mare before sunset. See if I did that by checking out my video. Some of you already know if you've watched it. Now, I'm going to cover nutrition. There's an awful lot of advice out there for nutrition for doing ultra cycling events, and Chase the Sun event is no different. There's a Facebook page for Chase the Sun. Join it if you think they're doing the event. There is some great advice on there and some good support from the community. But there is also a lot of naysayers who say, you can't do this, you can't do that. One of the big things with the nutrition that I kept seeing on there is you can't do your nutrition on energy drinks and gels. Your stomach won't survive, it'll be in knots, you just want normal food. I call complete hogwash on that. I planned my nutrition based on the fact that I wanted to consume 60 grams worth of carbs per hour. Now, I knew I was going to burn somewhere around 7,000 to 8,000 calories during this event. It was going to take roughly 15 hours is what I was thinking. So I knew I was going to burn a lot of carbs from what I've done on previous rides. So I thought I'm going to need 60 grams. That's going to be my plan. That's going to keep me fueled. So in my training rides, I trained, not on every ride, but a few rides, making sure to use that. And in fact, I actually trained with 80 grams worth of carbs just to make sure I didn't get an upset stomach. So I went a little bit higher, knowing on the event I would do a little bit less and have a little bit of safety margin in there. So my plan for doing the event itself was to complete it in the shortest time from start to finish. Not maybe the fastest riding time, but the quickest elapsed time. So to do that, I wanted very short stops. Now I had my support crew, Ben and Michelle, and you'll see them in the video. They did a great job. And my first plan, I didn't want them to have to meet me in London and have to find a meeting location in London. So my plan was to get to the other side of the M25, 84 miles in the first jump. To do that, I purchased a 2-litre hydration pack, and you'll see that in my bike setup video. Apidura one, got it off eBay secondhand. That is a great bit of kit to use. And I filled that with 1.5 litres of water and 3 OTE hydration tabs. Now these hydration tabs, they don't contain a lot of, they're not particularly high in salt, and they don't contain a lot of calories, but they do help your body absorb the water. And I've used them for quite a while. They're a little blackcurrant flavour, so just help you get the water in while you're supping. And I also purchased Precision Hydration 250 milligrams sodium tablets, salt tablets. Okay, and I took a couple of them at the start, and then I took at least 2 at each stop to make sure I was getting the salt in. So along with my water, my salt tablets, I filled 2 620 millilitre bottles with carbs. Okay, now I used the 80 grams super carbs from OTE, which you mix with 500 millilitres of water. Now, yes, I mixed them with 620, so I diluted it a little bit more. And my aim was to consume 60 grams, remember, per hour. Now, I've got 80 grams in here, so I wanted to consume 1 bottle of carbs every 2 hours. So I had 2 bottles filled up, envisaging that it would take me roughly 5 hours to do the first 84 miles. That was kind of my plan, thinking it was going to be a bit slower through London. I also had with me some OTE bars, each of those 40 grams worth of carbs, and I consumed 1 of those every 2 hours. So I wouldn't consume it in one hit. I'd literally have it open, take a bite, take another bite. So I had a timer set up on my Garmin every 30 minutes to eat and every 15 minutes to drink to make sure I was getting in some water and some carb mix. Now on top of that, I also had energy gels. standard size energy gels, and I had these ones are 20 grams worth of carbs each, and I had the super gels from OTE as well, and some of my standard gels had caffeine in. So on my first split, I started with, I think I had one caffeine gel during the first part and one standard gel to the first 84 miles. Okay, so in my first 84 miles, just to recap, I've consumed 2 bottles of carb mix, 160 grams total of carbs, 2 bars, 80 grams worth of carbs, and 2 energy gels, totaling 40 grams worth of carbs, along with 1.5 litres of hydration. When I got to my first stop, okay, my plan was to always use some Red Bull. Now, I'll have to refer to my phone for all the stats, I'm afraid. I can't remember all the carbs off the top of my head. So this contains 28 grams worth of carbs and 113 calories in these little cans. Okay, so I consumed one of those. So that gave me a bit of quick hit of sugar. And then I used Marks and Spencer's gluten-free ice buns. Okay, so each bun contained 50 grams of carbs, 261 calories. So I had one of those at my first stop as well. Refilled a bottle of carb mix because my next stop was going to be 30 miles away. So I'd budgeted 2 hours between my next stop, roughly speaking. If I had to stop and go to the loo or anything like that, I knew I needed 2 hours. And remember, I'm consuming 1 bottle every 2 hours. So perfect. Again, filled up my hydration pack, made sure another litre of water in there at least, and I already had some in there. Just topped that up, so I kept my hydration going in, again with some hydration tablets. And during that stint, I had another bar, and I had a super gel, 40 grams. Okay, so then I got to my 116 mile stop. You have to stop at 100 miles at the official stop just to check in, but I did literally roll through. I didn't take any water on. I didn't need anything at all. I literally checked through, boom, kept going. Met Michelle and Ben at the next stop, another carb bottle. I actually had a ham roll there, so that was probably only about 30 grams worth of carbs and probably about 230 calories, something like that. So not quite as big, but again, took another bar with me, had that on the bike on the next stint. I took some salt tablets and I was just being careful about cramping. So I'd also bought some 1,000 milligram hydration tablets. Now these things are quite big and chunky. And I said, Ben, mix me one of those up in another 620 bottle for my next stop. Okay, I had planned to drop the hydration pack off, but I hadn't bought a side exit bottle holder, bottle cage for my bottles. I had 2 bottle cages on there, but both come out from the top. Because I had my frame bag on, which you'll see in my bike setup video, it was a little bit difficult to get that front bottle out. So I was using only the rear bottle. So I thought, actually, rather than put that front bottle on there, I'll just put a rear bottle on with carbs and I'll keep my hydration pack on. It was quite handy for holding my phone and other bits anyway, and it wasn't too hot a day, but definitely, I would definitely put a side entry bottle cage on your bike. It makes it so much easier to get your bottle off while you're riding. And again, if you haven't practiced accessing your bottle, or you're struggling to access your bottle while riding, and I saw that on the Facebook page, you've got to get a hydration pack because that is going to save you a worry. You can't be stopping to drink. You will not drink enough. You're going to struggle and you're going to run out of supplies. So at my third stop, I had another ice bun. Okay, so I had an ice bun there. That topped me off nicely. That was at 150 miles. Again, I'd had another bar with me. I think I only ate half of that between 150 and my next stop. And that is a little bit, I should have kept a bit more on top of it. Again, topped up with more water. I'd had another big energy gel, so I thought I was doing well. Still had a carb mix on the go. Now, we did stop at 175-ish before the big hill started because I wanted to offload as much as possible. So I got rid of my hydration pack. I went down to 1 bottle just of hydration tab, so no carbs at that stage. I made a mistake here. I didn't have something to eat. I just didn't feel it, and I thought I'd put enough in. As we started going up the climbs, I was a little depleted with energy, and I just thought, this is slow. My legs still felt quite good. I realised obviously I had a bar already open, half a bar left, so I quickly ate that. I had another whole bar. I ate that straight away as well. No problem either eating those. So clearly I was hungry enough and I should have ate at 175. Ben did tell me to. And then Ben had an energy gel in his pocket, so I had one of those. Within 20 minutes, that got back in my system because I'd kept myself quite topped up, I think. And I was back up to speed and I was able to finish. And we were doing on the last 10 miles, sort of 22 average. So we did do well. So really, I did most of this ride without eating. I didn't have any dinner as such. You know, I didn't have toast. I didn't have burgers. That's not needed. I wasn't eating sandwiches, crisps, certainly not chocolate bars. I kept it all to solid foods. Now, obviously, being celiac, I knew I couldn't stop and just pick up from the garage because you're just going to pick rubbish up 9 times out of 10. There's not that much gluten-free choices. So I had planned that for this. Now I'll run through my totals with you, okay, on what I had. So in bars, in total, I consumed 5 bars, 240 carbs, 1,440 calories in bars. Gels, I reckon I consumed sort of 2 of the small ones, 3 of the large ones, so about 5. So I would say a total of 180 grams of carbs in total. Is that right? That seems a bit low. No, 180 grams of carbs in total. You don't get that much from the gels. So don't just rely on the gels. Like I say, these standard gels, 20 grams of carbs. It's not much at all. And a total from my gels was 540 calories. My carb mix, this is where I got most of my carbs from. 400 grams of carbs in my mix bowls over 6 sachets, 1,600 calories. So a good amount of calories and a lot of carbs. Again, energy drinks, people think these are going to be your saviour. Not really. 84 grams of carbs in 3 cans that I had and only 339 calories. So they're handy. The caffeine's good. Give me a pep up. I like the flavour. It's my favourite, coconut and berry. I do tend to only use them for events. I don't use them daily anymore. I've binned that off. I stay off the caffeine. I don't drink tea or coffee, so I do get a nice hit of caffeine on the event. But I have used them for a long time, so I am used to it. If I'm doing a hard effort, a race, then we're talking I'm having this sort of 3 hours before. I don't like the fizzy in my belly when it's a hard effort, but for a long endurance race, no problems at all, and they really dig you out. My ice buns, good source of carbs. Each one had 50 grams in, so 100 grams worth of carbs and 522 calories, some nice calories in there. My hand roll, 30 grams of carbs, 220 calories, so not amazing. So now remember, I was aiming for 60 grams worth of carbs per hour. How did I do? So I've totted up what I had throughout the ride, and my ride took me 14 hours. So I was out on the bike for 14 hours. My actual elapsed time, 12 hours, 33 minutes. So that'll give you a hint to see whether I completed that before sunset or not, to be fair. My total amount of carbs consumed in grams, 1,014 grams worth of carbs. Now that works out, if you divide that by 14, 72 grams per hour. So I smashed my 60 grams. Now remember I said I'd trained with 80 grams in my mix on my training rides, long training rides, 100-mile training rides, and I'm making sure I'm doing 8 grams worth of carbs and some short ones doing it as well, just to make sure. So I had a little window there for tolerance, and I was actually getting close to it. So it's well worth me checking that. Total calories consumed, 4,761 calories. Now that doesn't include, I did have 100 grams worth of overnight oats for breakfast in the morning. I haven't included that in there. When I got to the end, I wanted to eat, so we did go to Nando's. I had a chicken platter with Ben, half a chicken each sort of thing. I really wasn't that hungry and I struggled. I didn't eat it all. I just couldn't eat it all. So be aware, you're gonna be eating all ride. You're not gonna be smashing. If you've done your nutrition right, you're not actually gonna need to smash loads of food at the end. But do make sure you have something. because the next day when I got up for breakfast, we stayed at the Premier Inn, got up for breakfast, I think I had bacon, can't have sausages, they're not gluten-free at Premier Inn, just to let you know, but bacon, scrambled egg, beans, mushrooms, I had some fruit, and I had 2 rounds of gluten-free toast, and I thought, that's going to set me up. I'm not going to need lunch. We were going to meet Michelle's sister for after on the way home, but I thought I won't need lunch. By 11 o'clock, I'm hungry again, and we went to the local, they make handmade burgers at a local farm shop, had that, and some chips, boom, and I had to stop and get some food for tea on the way home. So I absolutely did eat quite a bit the next day after the ride, and even the Monday, again, extra calories going in. I definitely probably had an extra 1,000 calories on the Monday as well. Literally, you are playing catch up. Because like I said, I burned, I think it was about 7,300 calories on the ride. I'd only got in 4,700. You take your 7,300, add your daily allowance to it of another 2,200 is usually mine. So I'm now up to needing 9,500 calories that day, and I've only had close to, I probably had 5,500 in total that day. So I was 4,000 calories short. I got some of that back on the Sunday, some of it back on the Monday, but definitely still left in a little bit of a deficit. But I slowly accrued that over the next week because I did a little bit less training while I recouped, built back up, and got back up to speed. So hopefully, me showing you these products, and I'm not sponsored by OTE in any way, shape or form. I will try and find a discount code for you. There are often some about to get you discount. Look out, they often do 20% discount codes. Sometimes you see the odd 25, even the rare 30% on special occasions. So do look out for them from OTE. I do rate their product. It is all natural. A lot of it is gluten-free. Carb bars are gluten-free. Some of the protein recovery bars aren't. They do also do soya protein because I'm lactose intolerant as well. Quite often if you have celiac, you can be lactose intolerant. So if you haven't checked that out, get a test if you're celiac. You may well find you're lactose intolerant as well. So I do use the soya protein from there. Again, I was really taken with the precision hydration stuff as well. It's not cheap. It isn't cheap. I mean, the OTE tabs, there's 20 in here, they're £8. These ones, £8.99, there's only 10. Now, okay, they're a bigger tab, but it still only mixes up the same amount of drink, 1 bottle each. So these have got a lot of salt in them, so they are good, but I wouldn't switch totally to these. I keep these for hot days. When I'm doing a longer ride, I might do 1 bottle with that. Did a longer ride this weekend, 70-mile ride, so one of my bottles had 100 milligrams, start me off for the day, and I think I'm pretty set up then. Now, you can go over the top on salt. To be fair, you have got to have a lot of salt and not much fluid to kind of suffer. And like I said, 6 bottles. So make sure you've planned plenty of things. Hopefully, this video's been of some help to you. Certainly give you some food for thought. Sorry about the pun there. If you've enjoyed it, please hit that like button, smash the subscribe, and hit that notification bell. It really does help out the channel if you can do that. Hopefully, you'll also check out, I'll put a link up to my whole playlist for Chase the Sun. Like I say, there's a few videos there that will help you out if you're doing Chase the Sun or another ultra event.